How to create a princess line. A princess line is slimming. Everybody loves them. I love them as well. A princess line also solves a couple of issues. Now, some people feel like they need a dart. They need a dart in their garment. I don't particularly like darts in my knit tops. One, because you don't ever see a dart in a knit in a store, in a retail store. So I don't really like them. If you feel like you need a dart, let me tell you that you might want to raise your shoulders a little bit so it raises that. But a princess line will take care of it. That's the best part about a princess line. I do want to tell you that if you decide that you have to have a dart in something, keep one thing in mind. When you do a dart in a garment or in a pattern, you better wear the same bra every single time you wear anything with a dart. Because you want the dart to end in the right place. You don't want it up here, you don't want it down there, you want it in the right place. And sometimes a bra will make a difference as to where you are in the garment. So that's one thing you need to pay attention to. I always tell my ladies in class, and they always laugh at this, but it's the truth. Watch television, watch your newscasters, watch your weather girls, because a lot of them, they may have darts, and when they move, so do the darts. And then sometimes they'll put their arms back down and it doesn't go back in place again. So that's another reason I just don't care for darts. There's nothing wrong with them. I just don't care for them. All right. So let me show you how to do a princess line, because I do love this. Now this is a miniature pattern, but what you're going to do is to take your big pattern, fold the neckline down, hold it up to yourself in front of a mirror. Take a marker, and you're going to draw a little dot wherever your bust point is. Now, some people, one side is different than another, but you don't want to do that to your garment. Pick one or the other if they are, but just draw a little circle exactly where your bust point is. Because what we're going to do is we're going to cross that bust point. So if you look at this diagram that I have right here, there's the circle that I created where my bust point is. And I want to show you how to do two different kinds of princess lines. So one princess line literally will come up from the bottom and cross and go into the armhole. This is the one that would take place for a dart. This one will go straight up into the shoulder. So either one, don't do both, but either one you can do with your garment. Now this is what you're going to do. You're going to take your pattern, lay it down, and you're going to measure from that dot that you just made on yourself to the center. So from here down, this needs to go exactly from this point to the center, this point to the center, this point to the center, and draw a straight line. Because from that point of your bust down your garment needs to be a straight line. Then that's when you go into the armhole and you can go into the shoulder. Now you can draw this higher if you want to into the armhole, or you could even draw it lower into the armhole. That's totally up to you. But when you go up to the shoulder, may I suggest you go to the center of the shoulder. That's a lot more attractive, all right? Then what you're going to do is you're literally going to cut on that line, whichever one you've chosen to do. I'm going to do a straight one just to show you, but this is the fold center front of your garment, and this is what we have cut apart. So this is 1/2 of the front of your shirt, just like this. So what I'm going to do, I've cut on that line, I'm going to pull this apart like this. You can draw this on your pattern knees, however you want to do it. Fill that in with a 1/2 inch. Then you're going to take this one and fill this in with a 1/2 inch, just like this. Then when you sew this back together, Scotch tape it in place. And when you sew this back together again, it's going to equal what you started with. That's how hard it is to do a French seam. That's it. Now, let's just say that you want to do it in the front and the back. Then all you have to do is to transfer the same marks to the back, because when it's in the shoulder, you want that all to wind up there. So I want to show you what my pattern's going to look like. So this is going to be the back of my garment, and when I open this up, you can see that it was cut on the fold of the garment. All right, let me move these over just a little bit. And this is your side back seam right here, like this. This is the side back, all right? So when I sew these two together with a 1/2 inch seam and these two together with a 1/2 inch seam, this equals the back of my pattern. It's as simple as that. So whatever you cut apart has to go back to what you started with. That's what keeps you sane. So this again is your front, and if you were making a jacket, you would add to the center front if you were doing that with the princess seam. But you can see that there's my seam allowance. When I put those two back together again, you wind up with what you started with. Now, princess seams are fabulous. I love them, and I love sewing them into my garment. But you can make phony princess seams, which is really fun. So what you're going to do is to take your front and you're going to lay it on your pattern or on your garment after it's sewn. This is not pieced. It looks it, but it's not pieced. So I literally drew this on my garment, and then I used the cover stitch on my serger to create this look, and it looks like a princess seam, but I didn't do any work. The same thing with the jacket that's behind me. This was really expensive fabric, and I loved the fabric. Did not like the garment that I made. So see, I do that too. And I looked in the mirror, and I said to myself, it had no life to it. I was watching television, and I saw a woman in a jacket that kind of the same kind of fabric, and I saw what she had done, so I took a picture of her. And what I did was I took strips of ultra suede, I glued them to the jacket exactly where my princess seam needs to be, and then I went back and I stitched them on. So this is 1/2 inch wide steamer seam. That's how I glued them on. And I did it on the other side as well. So then I decided to add a little bit more jazz to it, and I glued on strips going at a bias up at the top. I didn't do it at the shoulder, I did it below the shoulder. Then I used nail heads. Can you see? These are nail heads. Nail heads are something that you see in upholstery a lot, and they have like prongs on the back side of it. There's no way I could get those prongs through the ultra suede and the garment as well. So what I did was I bent in all the prongs, and then I glued them on with E6000. I did it on the other side as well, and then I decided on both sides of the zipper to do the same thing. So I took the strip and I glued it on with steamer seam, then went back and stitched it on, and now I have a beautiful jacket that looks like the princess seam, but it's all been glued on, so it's kind of a faux princess. But isn't that a great way to get that kind of look?